Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and this week I've been driving the 2023 Lexus UX250h. Up front is a 2.0 liter inline-4, as well as a hybrid system, and down below is a CVT. Now I am super excited to be making this video because I have spent the last 7 days here with the Lexus UX250. I had very low expectations for this vehicle, and so I'm excited to share with you how they have been managed or beaten throughout the course of this video. But if you would like to share your vehicle with me, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that hybrid system under the hood. So the H at the end of 250 means that it is a hybrid, and altogether it makes about 181 horsepower. It's not fast, but it shares a very similar setup with the Prius. And so really this car is kind of a spiritual successor to the CT200H of the early 2010s. That was a rebadged, rebodied Prius, and this is kind of in that same vein. Now, the question on everyone's mind is fuel economy, and I am so happy to report that it has been very, very good. As of right now, the current filming of this video, I'm averaging 41.5 miles to the gallon, but when I was driving to work yesterday, which was a little bit less stop and go, I was averaging around 43 miles to the gallon. So this vehicle is very, very efficient, which makes me very happy, and in my time of having the vehicle, I haven't had to fill it up with gas at all, which is phenomenal, at least for my pocket. Now, like I said, paired to it is a CVT, and you know what? It's fine. Because this is a hybrid, it's switching between gas and electric mode. It's fine. It's doing the job. I don't mind it. I'm normally not a big fan of this style of transmission, but I actually don't mind it in this vehicle. It's doing the job, and that's fantastic. Last but not least, the UX250h is all-wheel drive. However, you can find them in front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to actually drive the UX250h? Really nice driving experience. It's nice, calm, and collected. It has a smooth ride, a very comfortable ride. Visibility is great out the front. Handling is fine. There's a touch of oversteer if you really juice it into a corner. But overall, the driving dynamics for a vehicle in this segment are good, and I'm really happy with it. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster, minus this plastic ring that actually moves. So if you turn the screen to the left off, or when you're turning the vehicle on, you see this actual ring move, which is very, very interesting. I've seen this in other Lexus products, and it's a little bit of a head scratcher, but kind of interesting at the same time. The actual gauge cluster is pretty calm and collected. It's this nice shades of blue and silver and feels very modern and definitely gives me the information that I want, and I'm pretty happy with it. Up above the gauge cluster, we do have two Shrek ear looking knobs. Off to the right, this is our drive modes. So we do have Sport, Sport Plus, Normal, Custom, and Eco, and as you can see, they change the way the gauges look, and you can customize a setting as well with the settings shown here on screen, which I really like that Lexus and Toyota allow you to do that. It's always interesting that they let you set your climate control mode, which is a little funny. Anyway, off to the left is our traction control off knob. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my selectors for that screen, as well as my pages icon, volume, and voice commands. And off to the right, I have my adaptive cruise control settings, as well as my skip track. This is the F Sport package as well, so I do get an F Sport badge down at the bottom, a nice perforated leather steering wheel, which I pleasantly enjoy. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, trip odometer, and my ASC button. Moving out of the door, I have 3 different memory seat options. Very nice to get 3 options here in the UX. And then I have my power folding mirrors, power mirror adjustments, lock and unlock, and power windows. Moving into the center, we have our giant infotainment system. Now, last week I had a Toyota Prius, and so I recognized this infotainment system immediately. It's the same that you would find in the new Prius, but it is updated and changed a little bit for the Lexus. Obviously, the Toyota icons have been replaced with Lexus icons and things like that. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and much like the Prius, I can activate my power flow screen in case I want to know what's going on underneath. I do also have a backup camera. Here's the backup camera, along with some somewhat overzealous parking sensors, but I'd rather them be too sensitive than not sensitive enough. Then we have 2 climate control vents with the hazard switch in the center, and our climate controls themselves. I do get dual zone climate, which is very nice to see. Auto climate, which seems to do a good job, and I have no complaints about it. Then we do have a cubby with 2 USB-C chargers and a wireless charger that works every time. I have had bad luck with Toyota wireless chargers. They seem to drop my phone after a minute, and I genuinely thought my phone was broken. That's not the case here with the Lexus. It actually works flawlessly every single time I've used it, which is awesome to see. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the UX250h. And unfortunately it fails. I didn't expect it to pass, but you gotta test it anyway. Then we have the shifter off to the left. I love the fact that they did not use the Prius shifter. It's a more traditional shifter, and I love the feeling of it. It's leather wrapped at the top, perforated leather. Love that. And then we do have EV mode and our auto holding brake button down below. Off to the right, we have some heating and cooling options. So the driver and passenger get heated and ventilated seats. And there's the heated steering wheel, of which all 3 of those can be set to auto if you'd like. So you'll let the car justify and figure out what settings are best for the current climate, which is really, really nice. Then we have the center console with a USB-A as well as a 12-volt outlet. And then we got to talk about the seats. I personally love this red leather. I think it looks fantastic, feels good, and really reminds me of the Lexus LC500 that I had. However, a lot of people disagree and say that the blue exterior with red interior somewhat clashes, makes it look like a Marvel movie, and I guess I can't deny that so much, but I personally really enjoy the red leather. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2023 Lexus UX250h, and this is where the wheels start to fall off the wagon just a little bit. It is very, very crammed back here. I'm 5'11", arguably not a small guy, but headroom is good, knee room is not. The shape of the door, the shape of the seat, I feel a little claustrophobic back here, and this is with moving the seat up probably 2-3 inches from where I'm normally driving. So even in my smushed position, I couldn't comfortably sit in front of myself, which is normally how I test vehicles to see if I could sit behind them, because anyone can fit in any car if you move the seat all the way up. That's not fair. This is my driving position more or less with a couple of inches of play, and I still am not very comfortable back here. Now, to be fair, this is Lexus's smallest SUV that they offer. There's also the NX and the RX before you start getting into like the big SUVs. So I would highly recommend taking a look at those if you prioritize back seats. But now that I'm back here, it's not the worst place in the whole wide world. I get cup holders, and I do get climate control vents back here. A lot of vehicles of this size don't give rear climate vents. This does, and I get 2 chargers. They are both USB-C as well. So not the worst back seat I've ever sat in, but this is definitely a strong downside for the UX250h. However, speaking of lack of space, let's hop around the back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space. All right, so around the back of the Lexus UX250h, and hold the button here on the key fob, and it does have a power lift gate, which is fantastic. However, as you can see, this suffers from the same thing that the Toyota Corolla suffers from, and that is no lip here when you come in. So it's honestly kind of limited in cargo space. Now, there is more space underneath this mat. You can pull this up, and you do get a little bit more space down here. However, it's not much, and honestly, I would probably just take this panel out and leave it at home to have the little bit extra room, but nothing really crazy. Now, we can go another layer down like Inception, and this is where we'll find our Fix-A-Flat can. Oh, that came off. So tools, things like that, and then if we reach under this, that's where we'll find some hybrid stuff living. So not a whole ton of cargo space in the back of the UX, which I was a little shocked at. One big reason why I love SUVs is the added back space, and this kind of doesn't have as much as I was expecting. It's not the worst thing in the world. My dad was going to take it to go grocery shopping, but honestly didn't know if everything would fit for the whole family, and so he took his own CX-5 instead of this. So if you're looking at cargo space, I guess the CX-5 is a good option, or of course, like I mentioned with the back seat, there's also the NX and RX chassis from Lexus. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and honestly, I really like it. Let's first do the walk around. I like the size of the UX, at least visually. I think the interior, as we just talked about, is a little too cramped, but overall visually, I like the size of it. It's kind of just a lifted hatchback, and I think it looks sculpted. I think it looks handsome. I think it looks definitely different than a lot of other vehicles in this segment, and this segment is so hot right now that that's not easy to say, but Lexus has achieved that. With the walk around finish, let's take a look at some night shots. You can see what I mean. I was driving the other night and I had to pull over and just get some video. The rear light bar looks fantastic. I think it looks so cool, so unique for the UX. Love seeing that. And this blue color really pops, which this is finished in ultrasonic blue mica 2.0. This isn't no 1.0 first try BS. This is ultrasonic 2.0. So kind of fun there. But now, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think, having driven the Lexus UX250h for the last 7 days? Well, let's start off with a list of things that I don't like. And it's really just the cargo space and rear seats. I wish that there was more cargo floor. I wish that there was a little bit more space for the rear seats. However, if you look at this more as a lifted hatchback and less of an SUV, it starts to make a little bit more sense. Besides that, there's not much that I dislike. This car has been fantastic as a daily driver and quite a necessity for me this particular week, because I was super smart and left a window cracked in my Mazda 3 when we had torrential downpour. And so it's been in the garage dehumidifying, sanitizing with a bunch of fans blowing on it just to try to get the mildewy smell out of that car. So I have been without a car this week, and luckily Lexus was here to fill that void. But the best thing about the Lexus UX250 is how little I have to think about it. I do a lot of shots here in the video, panning shots, swooping shots, zooming shots, whatever you want to call it, because I want to show off the car. But I have one picture that sums up this entire vehicle without any fancy camera work, and it was actually taken on my cell phone. And this is it. This is the best picture of this car. Because what's the first thing you notice? Maybe the pretty sky, maybe my friend, maybe the $100 bottle of perfume she bought only moments before. The UX250h is there. It's present in this photo, but it's not the focal point. It's not what immediately draws your attention. And that's the best part about this car, is that you don't have to think about it. It's not sitting weighing on your mind. It's not something you have to consciously think about. And as I grow older, that's something I actually think about a lot, is sort of my mental capacity for memory. Trying to remember all 270, almost 300 cars that I review a year, it's not fathomable. It's not fair to myself. And so I try to remember the specifics, or try to remember something unique about each car. But if you came up to me and said, hey, you drove a car 3 years ago, what engine did it have? I might not have that answer ready for you. This car doesn't take up any mental memory. This car doesn't take up any storage space in your hard drive of a brain. When I had the GR Corolla or the Toyota Supra manual on test for a week, whenever I went out, it was, oh, I get to drive the Supra to Walmart. I get to drive the Supra to my friend's house. I get to drive the Supra to the doctor. With this car, it's, oh, I have to go to Walmart. I'll take the Lexus. I have to go to my friend's house. I'll take the Lexus. I have to go to the doctor. I'll get there via Lexus. And that to me is understated, because it's off my conscience. It's off my mind. I don't have to worry or think about this car, and yet it does everything for me. It's like having my own automotive butler. I have ventilated seats. I have wireless CarPlay with a good sound system. I have all the safety assists that I would want. It coddles me. It comforts me. It takes stress out of my day without being the focal point, without begging for attention. And that is why this photo, again, is the best photo of the UX250h, because it's just regular life. It's a snapshot from a very real dinner I had with a very real friend. In this moment, I was purely happy to be with my friend and to be witnessing a beautiful sunset. And the UX250h was just there to facilitate and make it happen. So thank you, UX250h, for that beautiful moment, for that time with a near and dear friend. Thank you for getting me there and getting me home. I really, really like this car. As a daily driver, boy, I don't know what else you could want. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Lexus for sending me this vehicle for a week, as well as Drive Shop for facilitating the pickup and drop off and cleaning, and of course the Midwestern Automotive Media Association for just connecting all of the dots. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.